Death Race is for sociopathic killers. You gotta have gravel in your guts. You have to live for the smell of motor oil and high-octane fuel. You gotta love the sound of rubber on asphalt and the taste of blood in your mouth. And when you go to sleep at night, I mean that deep REM sleep, the sound of bullets whizzing past your head should give you comfort. So, Mr. Strong and Silent, you made of that stuff.
Welcome to Now Playing Podcast's Death Race Retrospective Series.
Sure, it's violent, but that's the way we love it. Violent, violent, violent.
Hosted by Jacob.
Motherfucker's crazy, but cool.
Stuart.
You have the skills I require to keep the legend alive.
And Brock.
Whoever named your car the Bull was only half right.
But be warned, this episode will contain detailed plot spoilers and strong language.
You know what the Dalai Lama said about committees? Oh, that's right. He didn't talk about committees because he wasn't a pussy.
We hope you enjoy the show.
Sounds like the odds are stacked against us.
Then do what you do best. Drive.
Today we're talking about Death Race, starring Jason Statham, Tyrese Gibson, Ian McShane, Joan Allen, directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. This is Brock, co-host of Now Playing.
And Stuart.
And this is the co-host who is married for his non-financial assets, Jacob.
That's a loaded statement. So Death Race, no year this time.
Just Death Race.
I mean, isn't that anticlimactic? Death Race 2000, the year 2000. Imagine how crazy that's going to be. This movie's coming out in 2008. So yeah, that doesn't really work anymore. We can't be Death Race 2000. I guess you could be Death Race 3000.
Well, they actually toyed with that idea. This thing has a long history before it hit the screen.
Okay. Yeah, my understanding is Paul W.S. Anderson was working on it for a very long time, that he was always going to be the director of this project. It was his baby.
He was always involved, so I don't know if you've ever heard of the movie Shopping. It's his first film. It stars Jude Law in his first feature-length role, and it's about teenage criminals who steal cars, and there's a couple of really cool car chases in it. I watched the film, and then the rest was kind of boring. But Corman saw that at Sundance and said, hey, I'll buy the American rights to that. So they had this relationship. And then the reason we're here is because of that Mortal Kombat film that some love so much. Stuart, I don't think you loved it as much.
I'm not that one. Arnie was that one. Yep.
I didn't mind it so much. I thought the first two were okay.
But that hit #1 at the box office. So Corman calls Paul Anderson up and says, what do you got for me? And he's like, I want to do Death Race. And so then, yes, 14 years. It's funny. I read on Wiki, Tom Cruise was involved at some point. Anderson never brought that up on the commentary or in any of the extras I watched. That was a surprise.
I mean, Tom Cruise's name gets mentioned in every project in Hollywood, or at least it did during a certain time. But it is well known that Tom Cruise wants to make racing movies. He's probably the only one that liked Days of Thunder. And he, would be happy making a sequel to that or something like that. I know that they wanted, for a while he was attached to Speed Racer, which came out the same year as this. So him doing a Death Race movie, again, I can see him having a lot of fingers and a lot of pies, saying one of them will come through. Probably just didn't want to work with this director. I just want to remind folks, in case they don't remember, Paul W.S. Anderson, just makes junky films. And maybe that's the right thing for Death Race. But he doesn't make Tom Cruise level event blockbusters. Alien vs. Predator is probably his highest grossing film.
And I wonder if Cruise was involved in the early days when this was Death Race 3000 and it was going to have a transforming car and a hover car. They're all going to be hover cars. They basically said it was going to be pod racing the movie. And that does feel more like a Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah, let me put it this way. If Tom Cruise were here, they'd have the money to make the movie they actually wanted to. I can see that this feels like a compromise vision, that we will not have spectacle like a major top-tier franchise in this film.
Well, I agree with that aspect, that with Tom Cruise behind it, they would have thrown an extra $50 to $100 million out over this movie. But I saw The Days of Thunder. I've seen Top Gun. I've seen the Mission Impossible movies. And the Mission Impossible movies are not chase movies or race movies. They're chase movies, but they're not racing movies. There's car scenes in them, and they're fun. Top Gun, of course, is the Need for Speed. But you're saying Tom Cruise has a lot of racing movies. He did one racing movie, and he's known off the movie circuit to have raced a lot of cars in his younger days. Paul Newman got him into it when they did The Color of Money back in the mid-'80s. So I'm not seeing Tom Cruise as the guy you go to for racing.
Well, racing movies are also really big. It should be said, Fast and the Furious franchise is cranking out. Pixar had just done Cars. It made money. Don't yell at me. I know it's bad.
Not good.
And you know what? Statham comes from that world too. He had Italian Job and Transporter. And so I do think it was a thing that was happening.
He was still doing the Transporter when this came out, that franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Right. This fits in with Statham's MO. Like, if you told me, this has been on my watch list for years because it's Statham. I haven't got around to it yet. I watch almost everything he does. But this seems to be a Jason Statham movie. The title alone. And also, he does a lot of remakes. So this makes a lot of sense for him to be here.
That's shocking you hadn't seen this one, Brock, because I know you watched, or you try to watch all of Statham's stuff.
I do.
You know, I thought Statham was starting to do direct-to-video stuff. I was mistaken. He just does a lot of stuff I've never heard of. I thought this movie was direct-to-video because I saw it in like 2009. This is the first Death Race I ever saw, and I liked this one so much. I'm like, oh, there's an original? Let me go watch that one. But I thought this was direct-to-video. I don't remember trailers for this, but it was theatrical. I missed it.
Yeah. So was there anyone else attached? I'd be curious to know. We're saying, I think we're all agreeing that this feels like lower level Jason Statham territory than a Tom Cruise, Tom Hanks. I mean, I can't imagine what A-list star would want to do this.
You know, I think they went with Statham. They liked his look. It's funny the way, Stuart, you just know how to read the cards and set up a schedule, because the first film they reference when they're making this, they're like, we want French Connection.
Okay.
We want it gritty and real. We want Bullet. We want The Driver. Not Drive, The Driver. Like, they pulled out that obscure film. Those are their references, and they thought Statham just had this lean, wiry, like, young Charles Bronson look to him that would sell that 70s vibe.
Here's the way I see Statham, is that he is a big star in that action subgenre. He never broke out. His glass ceiling, he could never get past. When he's the star of a film, they never make more than $40 million, $50 million. That's just the thing. When he's part of an ensemble, obviously that can get bigger. But he, as his own box office draw, there's only so many people that go. To me, he made so many movies that sounded interchangeable. Like, I can't even keep track of. Like, I can't imagine watching all of his films and then being able to tell the difference between them.
When I looked at the ones I had watched, I'm like, Safe? I don't know what that's about, but I watched it apparently.
Yeah, I have a list, and I forget. So when I'm looking for a Statham movie to watch, I'm like, did I watch that one already? So Letterboxd is my friend. And you mentioned Charles Bronson, and I mentioned that Jason Statham does a lot of remakes. He's done like 2 or 3 remakes of Bronson movies. Like, it's remarkable. The Mechanic is one.
The Mechanic I've seen, yeah.
I mean, they're trying to draw him in that range. Like, that he is a B-movie action star, and that means that this movie is not going to be franchise, or at least not big-time franchise. Like, not Tom Cruise franchise. This, I think, was only budgeted at $40 million or something like that. It was a pretty low budget. If you're doing post-apocalyptic sci-fi, $40 million doesn't get you much in 2008.
And the crazy part is, each car that they built for this cost as much as the entire budget for the original Death Race. Each car here is about $300,000 to build. Actual roll cages, actual safety requirements being upheld here.
And how many versions of each car did they make?
They didn't say, but they made multiples of each one.
Had to have.
Yeah.
You'd have to. Yeah. All right. But there's a reason why you don't remember this coming out. It flopped. Yes. It was a late summer 2008 movie. And you know, if something's coming out in August, at the very least, there's not a lot of hope for it.
Yeah, August, September, skip it.
It doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means the studio doesn't believe in it. And it was coming out at the same time as the Beijing Olympics. It opened third behind House Bunny and Tropic Thunder, which had been in theaters for weeks and weeks. So, like, it grossed $35 million. It didn't even get to its production budget. You add the global box office, it still only made 75. There is no green light here for making more. This feels, I would use the word, like a failure.
We got 3 more in this series after this.
This is the remarkable thing, is this feels like failure to me. This is the beginnings of a 4-part leg of this conception. Which version did you guys see, by the way? I noticed I rented this from my library, so I'm holding a disc that says unrated cut.
I watched both because I had to watch everything for this, but there's like 5 minutes of difference, and good luck trying to recognize it. It's little added scenes here and there, extensions.
I got it, though. Here's the litmus test. If you saw Statham walk into his jail cell and his bunkmate oinked at him and made kissing faces,
yes,
you saw unrated.
That was the scene I was going to call out because that's the only one that popped out to me when I watched the two different ones.
Okay, I saw that version because he did that in my movie.
I really feel, based on the commentary, because they did the commentary track for the unrated version, I feel like that was the almost theatrical cut, because the stuff they cut out, they even called, they're like, oh yeah, this is an extra scene where it gets explained later, so we could just remove this 10 seconds or whatever. So it really does feel like before they fine-tuned it, this was the edit before them, but they could call it unrated. You'll buy it because maybe there's more blood and more sex, who knows.
Again, something's death race, you want the most extreme, right? You want it to feel like a snuff movie. That's what they're selling here. Yes, what we're talking about is a few seconds here and there, adding mostly violence. And maybe you notice or maybe you don't. But the one scene that isn't in the rated cut, you could lose. It means nothing. I don't think you needed it.
We're at the starting line, Stuart. Let's get a plot summary. Get going.
All right. Well, we are far beyond the year 2000, and the economy must have been really bad. It's tanking because Death Race can no longer afford to gas up vehicles to travel across the country. Now folks pay $250 to stream 3 days of convicts doing laps at Terminal Island Penitentiary. And the cars are still outfitted with some cool armor and weapons. There's plenty of ways the drivers and the pit crew can die, but no more points for running down pedestrians. That whole concept is gone. And if you win 5 races, the convict goes free. Joan Allen is Warden Hennessy, and she's in charge of keeping the ratings up. And her most popular racer is Frankenstein, a masked leather man who drives a vehicle known as the Monster. And at the start of this movie, competitor Machine Gun Joe, played by Tyrese, has done some serious damage to the Monster. It spins out before it crosses the finish line. Everyone thinks Frankenstein is off recovering in an infirmary, but actually he's dead. He died. And Warren Hennessy needs to find another great racer to put on the Frankenstein mask and give folks a good show. So she has Jensen Ames, a former race car driver played by Jason Statham, wrongly arrested for the murder of his wife and gets him incarcerated with her at Terminal Island. And at first, Ames doesn't want to play ball, but he changes his tune when the warden points out that Frankenstein had already notched 4 wins. So if Ames, races this weekend and earns his freedom, then he can be going back to care for his infant daughter, Piper, very, very soon. And so Statham grimly plays the role of this celebrity death racer for 3 days. And during that time, he's able to identify the man that actually did kill his wife and mow him down on the racetrack. And he is able to squash the beef that Frankenstein had with Machine Gun Joe. They first team up to take down a fearsome super truck called the Dreadnought. And then they figure out a way to escape the track entirely on the 3rd day, and Ames' comely navigator Case dresses up as Frankenstein to distract the pursuing cops so that Frank and Joe can hop a train to Mexico. And the film concludes with father and daughter reunited in a junkyard, which Statham claims in voiceover is the best parenting he can offer as credits roll.
And Stuart, I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not, but did you read this as this is what happens after Death Race 2000? Like they can't even afford to drive across the country?
Well, I just was pointing out the fact that they've changed the game. I mean, so much of what I found about the Corman movies, the point wasn't to cross the finish line first. The point was to kill, kill, kill. I just feel like in this time, that's not the mental process. You mostly just want to get ahead of everyone. And if it means killing somebody, so be it.
And their conception here, and I think it's to accommodate that, yes, we have a smaller budget. They found this really cool location. This is all on location stuff. This warehouse, this factory, that long bridge they drive down to the jail. That's all real location. But yeah, their conception was, this is 20 years before Death Race 2000. This is the early days of the Death Race, and it's going to evolve. So maybe we'll get that cross-country stuff later on in the sequels, but their conception was this is just maybe the second one.
Prequel to Corman.
Yeah, but not a direct prequel, but yes, a spiritual one.
No, I understand what you're saying, but spiritual means that it's cut in the same cloth. And one of the things I'm just going to call out, and I'm grateful for, is that they're not trying to do a splatter comedy. This is not in the spirit of Corman at all.
There's going to be splatter and there's going to be comedy, but yes, it is not Corman's Death Race.
It is not the same thing. And if you liked the 1976 or the thing that's coming in the future that Corman also put his name on, it's not a guarantee that this version, again, it feels like a prison movie. It doesn't feel like the cross-country road trip movie and splatter comedy that we got before. To me, it feels worlds different.
Yes, but I'm going to ask you right now, do you prefer the cross country, or do you like the conceit that it's laps around a prison yard and it's more condensed? Do you have a problem with them not going across the country?
I think if you ask my, just flat out without me seeing any imagery or knowing who's involved, would I rather see a cross country race or a race at a prison? I don't want to go to a prison. That doesn't really appeal.
Sure, if we don't know, what the product is going to be, cross country sounds more fun. I'm actually not going to have any problems with this basically NASCAR race in prison. But yeah, they were not trying to do just a race car movie. That was part of it, but a prison movie was another one. They felt like they were doing a war movie as well.
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
Well, I have a question for you guys. So the first thing we see is the Universal logo with like tires screeching when it goes around the world. And the first thing I thought of, especially since Statham is in the Fast and the Furious franchise, why would Universal do this movie about yet more racing or more car stuff when they already have a franchise at this time in 2008?
Because the last one was Tokyo Drift. They did not have a franchise.
Oh, I see.
People forget that thing went off the rails, and they were more or less done after the third movie. And yes, they were looking for another race car franchise, so they were hoping to get the fans of that kind of movie into theaters August 2008.
Okay, there's the reason. Thank you.
And we do get all these intertitles talking about the year 2012, the economic collapse. I'm like, no, that was that year. That was 2008.
2008,
when everything melted down. What are you talking about 4 years from now? Like, step out of the movie theater and try to buy a house. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and then in this prelude, they also mentioned that they had gladiatorial fights and old-fashioned gladiator fights in the prison, and people got tired of that, and they move on to Death Race, and that's where we are today with Frankenstein in this first scene. And I thought, the data dump at the front, I thought they did that pretty well, because it felt like a pay-per-view kind of entertainment, which is exactly what it is, right? Because they describe the pay scale and what you can get and things, and I thought it was quite a good idea how they set the whole thing up. If you're familiar with the other movie, that's great, but if you're not, here it is. I didn't mind at all that they threw all the stuff at me and jumped us into the movie right away. I thought this was a great way to start a new chapter of this franchise.
It's a Democrat nightmare, right? It's, oh my God, prisons are now run for profit. Like, that's the nightmare thing.
Which, aren't they already? We're already there, more or less.
I mean, kind of. Yeah, kind of. So
there's a lot of privatized prisons. We got the 13th Amendment. We still have slaves in prisons. Like, yeah, I like this. This is a good thing to tackle in your B-movie exploitation film.
The only callback I caught was when we get to the actual race in here. They're going to kick off with a death race that goes bad. We have a Frankenstein. It looks like a cooler version, a more expensive version of what David Carradine was wearing back in that original movie, and I hear his voice.
It just reminds me of Jason. I don't know. It almost looks like a hockey mask.
And it totally is. It totally is. Like he could be fronting Slipknot or something like that. But that's what you want to see.
Yes, Slipknot, yes.
In 2008, right? That's what's cool with the kids. But they throw in the David Carradine thing, which I thought was the only touch we needed.
I did not catch that. That's Carradine's voice?
It is. They actually took outtakes from the previous movie and had him.
They didn't even bring that up in the commentary. Wow.
Yeah. I didn't catch that. Wow. Good for you, Stuart.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a fun little nod that this is the character they're killing off as we get started here.
And I agree, Brock, like it gives you this exposition dump. It tells me everything I need to know if I hadn't seen Death Race 2000, which I hadn't when I first watched this. But if you have seen Death Race 2000, this might be a surprise. Like Frankenstein is I assumed he died here. Like he's gonna crash. He is not gonna win the race.
Yes. We're told in dialogue, one thing that they might have thought about doing in this movie is having a point of view character character of the audience, of the fan, of all the millions of people that are supposedly paying, $300 to tune in here. We're told that people just love this guy. I don't know why, other than, again, Slipknot looks cool. We're just in that goth phase.
I think he looks cool. I think he's mysterious. You don't know who the guy beneath the mask is and all that kind of stuff. And apparently the people who wrote this movie had the same idea that we had the last two conversations about doesn't matter who's under the mask, and we're going to get there pretty soon.
Yeah, this is doing what I thought they were implying with Death Race 2000 was David Carradine wasn't the original Frankenstein. That might have been his first race. That's just a character. It's the Hulk Hogan of this sport that they got to just keep going because he's the most popular. And so, yeah, we're going to see that story play out in this one.
Yeah, it's about time. It's a really good idea, especially since the three of us thought of it. So we know it's good.
So what I hear you complimenting is the fact that there's going to be this mirage of like, oh God, we lost our star. To me, I don't like auto racing, but if I did, what I would like about a certain driver was that they were good at it, not that they died on the track or wore a particular costume. You want them to have skill. So if Frankenstein doesn't always win, why would he remain popular? Why wouldn't people like Tyrese?
But he's won 4 because he might get his freedom, and no one's ever done that yet.
Yeah, well, Tyrese might. I mean, he's one behind.
He's got 3, doesn't he? Yeah. And it should be said, this is 2008. I don't keep up with television, but I know, like, in the 2000s, reality TV was huge. Call in, vote for your favorite American Idol. So, like, this is playing into all that. So I could see people, maybe you dropped out of the ratings last year because Frankenstein wasn't in it, but he might win it this year and get that freedom, so you're back in.
Yeah. I find the central conflict that the warden is faced with, we can't go forward without Frankenstein or no one will watch, to be implausible. I do not believe that, but I understand that that's the conceit they're going with.
I don't have a problem with this conceit. It's very basic B-movie sci-fi dystopia. It's all about the ratings. The corporations are running everything. It's very comic book, but I buy it. I go with it because it's a death race movie.
Yeah, I'm right there with Jacob. Is this like a deal breaker for you, Stuart?
It's the start of the stupid. I mean, just go ahead to preview. I don't like this movie, and it starts with the idea that I don't believe that they need Frankenstein in order to get bloodthirsty viewers excited. You could just put another mask.
Okay, you didn't watch WWF as a kid, did you? I mean, you have to have those superstars.
Yeah, I do. And it wasn't all about Hulk Hogan. There's like 300 of them.
It was always about Hogan.
And you could always invent new ones. You could manufacture a new one at any given moment. They die of steroids or whatever. We got a new one next year and we move on. And that's what they do. So not only do they say we need another Frankenstein, and they do have in their whole passel of people an actual NASCAR driver. There was somebody that took sleeping pills and drove their Mercedes through the patio of an outdoor dining restaurant. They could use a really good driver, but no, let's kill the wife of a guy that used to be a good driver but now works in a steel mill. Woo! Bad. Just bad setup.
I mean, you're saying bad. I feel like I've seen a lot of Jason Statham films, and this is a Jason Statham film. I get it. Like, this is a lazy conceit. Like, show him racing outside, maybe racing around the cops instead of beating them up.
Yes. Do not have him in a steel mill. He is a racer, and that's why you get him. Don't have this garbage about he's working class and being shorted the paycheck. And this is all garbage. This is just bad.
Obviously, none of us fell for. We all understood exactly what was going on here. We knew that it was a setup. We knew that the warden was in on it. There's no two ways about it. I mean, it's obvious what's going on here for us. But I'm with Jacob on this one right now because this is a Jason Statham movie. I'm not coming here for, Oscar caliber screenplays.
I'm not either.
I need him in this prison to race in this thing. Could they have gotten him somewhere else? Sure. Could they got him on a DUI because his wife got sick? Yes. Could they have done it a different way? Absolutely. But you know what? They chose this way because he wants to also have his Jason Statham anger, his need to get back at the man. And that is what they need.
Yes, that is a real problem for me. That is exactly what I don't like. The way that they're going to set him up is that he's completely innocent and victimized and just will spend the whole movie glowering and angry. And that's not a whole lot of fun for me to watch.
I mean, I feel like everyone they want us to sympathize for, yes, this is going on. I don't know why List is in prison. He must have done something bad. This is the worst prison, but he seems like a nerdy kid. I don't know how he ended up here. Yeah, like, it's very black and white. We know who the good guys are. There's no mystery. Did Statham actually kill his wife or not? Like, they're not even going to play that as a mystery here. They don't want you to worry about what side he's on.
And what I would say is I've watched plenty of B movies that are stupid and enjoy them, but they have to have a sense of fun. If you're telling me my main character is never going to smile, never going to enjoy what they're doing, is saddled not only with the dead wife trope, but the I've got to get back to my daughter trope, oh, God. He doesn't want to be around anyone that's with him. He's not going to have any romantic chemistry with anyone. There's nothing for him to do here except be mad. And that is really a problem.
Okay, don't watch Jason Statham movies then. Like, this is his character.
I don't. I actually don't, yes.
Yeah, this is his MO, dude. Like, this is more like, you know, we haven't not done a full Jean-Claude Van Damme or Steven Seagal retrospective.
Oh, heaven help us. Yeah, Seagal would kill me.
And I don't think I'm built for it, frankly. I think I would bow out.
I don't think three of us would survive. However, the point I'm going for, I think you see where I'm going with. The ones I have seen, the titles are interchangeable, and it's pretty much the same character with like one little gimmick that's different, and the ones that are exceptional for them in their movies are the ones that have something a little bit different, like the Die Hard on a Boat for Steven Seagal, and the one Universal Soldier for Jean-Claude. Like, a little bit of a better conceit to get him to work in the confines to do, you know, his stuff. Here, Jason Statham is doing what Jason Statham does in Jason Statham movies, and we've watched quite a few of Jason Statham movies this past year. So this is par for the course, and this is, you know, 2008 Jason Statham. This is exactly what you come to a Jason Statham movie for.
And I don't think he's angry the whole time. I've seen Jason Statham to know, like, yes, that's an angry growl. That's a sarcastic growl. They're always growls and grimaces, but they mean different things. Like, he's got range.
Okay, so here's what I'm hearing. You guys are going to have no problem with this because you're bought into the celebrity of Jason Statham. You like what he brings, and you want to see him do his thing movie after movie.
No, I don't always want to see him do his thing. I didn't recommend any of his Transporter films. Like, this one is working for me. I've seen, again, Safe. I don't know what happened to that. I saw it, The Mechanic, I could barely recall. Like, if I could somewhat remember it, that's probably on the better end of a Jason Statham film for me.
I'm right there too. Like, they're all interchangeable for me. Homefront or Homeland, if I saw that one too. Can't tell you. I think that's the one with the hat and the girl that punches the kid in the throat.
The hat?
I don't know. Like, its whole thing's about the hat in the playground. Stuart, beyond just the Statham, I'm actually liking how they took it out of the cross-country race, especially after that last one, which felt so like it was in front of a green screen. And they gave us a much more, dare I say, realistic setup for a prisoner to race around a track 3 times with guns and knives and swords and shields. I'm enjoying the idea of what this version of Death Race is going to be, in addition to enjoying the Statham. So I'm on board right now with this first 10 minutes of the movie setting everything up for me, because to me this seems like a good idea to have the Death Race turn into a reality television show.
Okay. Just to offer my counterpoint, I don't go to Jason Statham movies. I don't want to see any of those, where he's starring in. If he's a part of an ensemble, you can use his quality to good effect, I do think. But a whole movie of him is exhausting and boring, and this setup is laughable to me. I just find all of it eye-rolling.
I mean, it's real mid-grade for an action film. I feel like I've seen the hero is set up for a murder he didn't commit. Like, this is every other action film.
Which is why I don't like it. You're giving words to why I'm like, then why would I watch this if it's generic?
Because that's just an excuse to get into better stuff. Like,
okay, fair. Let's table that.
Yeah. They want to get there fast. This is like pornography. Like, let's not focus on the plot too much.
All right. That helps me understand that you guys just are not worried about what I'm calling the problems. It doesn't really matter.
No, to tell you where I'm at, when we finally get like Joan Allen walking into that yard with some hip hop playing, I'm bobbing my head. I'm finding it funny that Joan Allen is a huge badass because it's Joan Allen and she's a nice lady. She's got 3 nominations for acting, but like, it's Joan Allen and that she's this badass. To me, this is funny.
I can't believe Joan Allen did this, but I mean, I don't know where her career is at this point, but she's certainly doing everything she possibly can.
They said this was their first choice too. Like, this is who they wanted.
No kidding. I'm sure it's their first choice. I'm not sure it's Joan's first choice. I don't know what else she had going on. I mean, Joan Allen is an Oscar-nominated actress. She's been in a lot of movies, and she's done a really great job in almost every single one of them that I can remember. And here she does just fine, but she seems above the material, is what I'm trying to say.
It's been 10 years since those roles, though. Just to be fair, she is a decade beyond, and, you know, she's known mostly for, like, Chilly Housewife, right?
Yeah.
Like, Wounded Housewife.
The Contender.
The Contender I didn't see, or Ice Storm, or something like that.
I don't know. My first go-to is Face Off.
Oh, God.
Oh, forgot about that.
Okay. See, I'm
Yep.
like the Ice Storm. That's my thinking of, like, she does quiet indie drama kind of stuff. So she will bring a different energy. She could be like Glenn Close is your villain or Meryl Streep is your villain. That's what bringing her into a B picture could be. Watch High Class, kind of like Cate Blanchett is going to be in Borderlands. You know, like I can't imagine her in a tank blowing things up in the post-apocalypse, but that's happening this summer. It can be really fun to watch that kind of prestige actress get her hands dirty. I don't think Joan Allen is particularly good in this film. I don't think she does much with this role.
So do you think it's the Bourne Identity movies that got her this role? That's what I think. It's very similar to her characters in that.
It is similar, sure. But to me, if you're the warden of a prison in a B picture, it's about chewing the scenery, right? Like that is a role in which we are going to love to hate you. I would say that's the way that you would want to play into it. That she is going to be, you know, removed. That this implacable face she has, poker face all time, and doesn't really have those scenes here. Yeah, you say they play the scene with her in the hip hop, that this one guy is in love with her, but I'm not feeling that. I feel like it's miscasting pretty early on.
I feel the problem is they wanted the big joke to be, and you see it in the movie, is if you swear around her, because she does not swear, you're going to get beat up by Ulrich, and then she's going to finally, like, get so mad she's going to swear, and I feel like that was just a whole joke they had planned out, and so, like, never went much deeper than that, but, like, yeah, you want to see her explode, or, like, behind closed doors, just swearing constantly.
I wanted her to get into Dreadnought and actually race by the end. That's what it requires, right? Like, anyone can sit behind the desk and look perturbed. Like, I need her to become Jason Statham. Like, that would be fun. Her doing this, not particularly fun.
I think the chewing of the scenery was a missed opportunity by Jason Clarke.
Was Jason Clarke anyone, though, at this point? Like,
no, but I'm saying is a Clancy Brown role from Shawshank Redemption, right? That is what he should have been here. Much more menacing, much more of a presence.
Boo hiss villain, yeah.
Yes, exactly. And he underplayed it too much for me. That was my complaint. I think Joan Allen was above the material and she did more with it than was written on the page. But I think the biggest missed opportunity is her henchman.
I love your word underplay because I actually feel like I could apply it to anything we're about to talk about. It's probably the word I would go to for almost anything that's going to happen next. I don't know where you guys want to pick up. You're okay with the way he got to prison. He's wrongly convicted and angry, and his killer is here. He does not know that yet. They will keep that like that is a secret to find out in the middle of this movie.
yeah, but we know what we're looking for. Whoever does the gun motion at him, I'm like, oh, we see the intruder that killed his wife do this finger gun motion at him. I'm like, okay, he's going to see someone do that at the prison, and that's going to be the main guy he's got to kill. Like, yeah, Stuart, I know this is dumb, and I know where it's going. Like, I've seen this movie a million times. It all depends on the lead, on the aesthetic. Like, are they going to have good cars, good action? That's what I'm here for.
So to follow through on that, so you're waiting with a smile on your face for when we see finger guns.
Yeah.
Well, look, I didn't know which one of the guys did it. I know one of the guys did it.
Yeah, I don't know which one, but they're going to do the finger guns.
Well, and the way they revealed it is the right way to reveal it. Like, again, Stuart, it's kind of like we talked about this comparison 1,000 times. Sports movies, rom-coms, you know this movie already. So how they do it is part of the fun. And we know all these plot beats. We know exactly when, how they're going to reveal it, and what the racing looks like is what I'm here. At this point in time, they've introduced all the racers. They introduced them with big flashy screens, much like the Creed movies have done recently, introducing the fighters. Very big splash things and getting to know the names of these people so they have a name to the faces as best we can until they start dying. But the race starts about, 40 minutes in? We already met his pit crew. We kind of didn't talk about them yet.
That's, again, I think we need to. You're like, let's get to the race. No, let's underline the fact of what you just said. It takes 40 minutes, which is 10 minutes longer than the longest Act 1 you ever want to have to get any racing going. That is terrible.
I'm not disagreeing with you. We were talking a little bit about, in the last 2 episodes of this series, how we don't know any of these characters that are all the kind of like two-dimensional tropes. Here, they actually try to give us a bunch of characters with, well, I guess, better two-dimensional tropes. And I think some of them, the actors know what they're playing, and they play them pretty well.
And if you like these actors, I mean, again, you tell me Ian McShane is in this. I'm a huge Deadwood fan. I love that show. I think it's one of the best television shows ever made.
Yeah, you're going to complain about him chewing up every scene in this film?
Does he chew it? Go watch an episode of Deadwood and you can watch a really enjoyable scenery chewing. I don't know. He's reading a tiny little Bible and he kind of gives pearls of wisdom to his new mechanic, who is Statham. But it's dialed down from what I would have expected or wanted.
Okay, I like this crew. Well, I like Coach and I like List. Gunner, he's whatever. I don't really know what's up with that character, but this pit crew, I like 2/3 of them. I'm enjoying the banter going back and forth. Again, this is just the stuff to hold you over. It's the appetizer till we get to the race, and I'm enjoying this little meal.
But yeah, we spend a lot of time with the setup. That they established that, again, 3 days of the same track. That isn't a little bit like, really? It's a cool enough environment. I don't really like the way this movie is edited, and I can't really see it very well.
It's hard to see, yeah.
But I do recognize one of the things I like about that Corman original, and it's true here, real cars on a real track. And that's a good instinct to have.
Look, I'm not sure, Stuart, if you ever played Mario Kart.
Yes, thank you.
But this is basically Mario Kart with all the stuff you run over instead of a question mark blocks, you run over the manholes to get the weapons and things like that. It is right out of Mario Kart. And if you think about it that way, you go 3 times around the track and you win, and you try not to get hit by the blue shells. I mean, it's really exactly what this is. And so I'm on board because it's that conceit.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Brock. You tell me, okay, it's 3 days going around the same track. I'm assuming that's not going to be like the same thing every day. Like there's going to be things changing up, and they give us a hint about that early on. Like there's this mysterious room where something's being built. We don't know what it is. And then all of a sudden that room's going to be empty. So yeah, okay. To me, it sounds like Mario Kart, a very violent, I don't know if it's any more violent than the way we talk to each other when we played in our family, but yes, a very violent game of Mario Kart.
Here's what I would offer. If you're taking 40 minutes to establish this world, I really want to know what Frankenstein means to the people and to the other drivers. We hear a lot of lip service about how Machine Gun Joe just doesn't like him. Why? Why is that a thing?
Because they're rivals. Like, I don't think it's any deeper than that. I don't need to ask why.
Boo! That's what I mean. 40 minutes? 40 minutes.
Okay, never. I do not believe you ever watched pro wrestling because you would not put up with it.
I would not spend 40 minutes watching those guys hulk out at the microphone and not getting in the ring.
Dude, that's what they do. They talk more than they fight. Like, that is how wrestling is.
I hear you saying that you find that the conventions of this movie are matching the entertainment value of wrestling. I am asking for a good movie. I am asking for a well-paced movie with interesting characters that can be trashy. I'm not talking Oscars. I'm not talking about I want a polished, great film.
Why did 2000 get a pass from you then?
Because it's a good movie, because it has a lot of fun.
I never saw why people loved Frankenstein. You had questions. Why isn't he scarred?
Because we were racing within 5 minutes in a cow car, and I didn't need to ask.
Okay, so it is about the cars.
It is about getting to it. Get me to the thing that you're trying to do. And if you're taking 40 minutes, show me why these relationships matter. And if they don't matter, do not take 40 minutes to do it.
I never feel a lag. I'm enjoying the pace. I'm enjoying the film.
Oh, wow. You never feel a lag?
No.
I have an issue with the Michael Bay school of filmmaking.
Oh, yes.
Oh, the constant crash zooms, like onto drivers as they're in the cockpit. Like, it's a headache.
It's harsh. It's harsh, and it's hard to follow sometimes who is who. Although when people die, they do tick them off for us as if we know who they are. But at least we understand that instead of, 11 racers, there's only like 5 or whatever.
There's 9 at the start.
There you go.
So again, that's a problem. I don't know how many racers are in it. I can't really keep track of what's going on. Like, first movie, we meet them, they're in their car, we get who they are, and 5 minutes later, we're on the move. We have one scene in the cafeteria where the guy who ends up being the killer, where they establish early we should hate Pachinko, but he's also in the Aryan Brotherhood, and he is harassing people in the lunchroom. And I think it's just to show that Statham in this movie is going to have martial arts skills. I guess he beat up a SWAT team as well.
Don't say martial arts. They've made a big point. He's doing street fighting. They would not let him do his martial arts that he's actually known for.
All right, my ignorance, but it looks like karate to me. And so I associate that with him. I feel like that's something he's expected to do in most of his movies. You would be disappointed if he didn't pull out some kind of fighting technique.
And the other thing you expect him to do is just kind of look muscly. And the crazy thing is, like, we're going to get 2 shots of him with his shirt off. Like, once when he's getting deloused, and another time he's doing some, like, back pull-ups in the prison. And, like, those are the only time you really see his body. They made such a big deal. They're like, he got down to 6% body fat. He was just eating chicken and cauliflower while everyone was at the craft services table. I'm like, I don't know if this is the movie you really need to focus on your body for.
Well, it explains why he's so cranky. Again, like, give him some sugar and maybe he'll smile, because I feel like you're telling me this is a B movie and have fun, and I feel like he's here to give a dramatically weighty performance about how much he's suffered.
I just want to add one more thing about this. I think the movie has a shorthand, Stuart, regarding why people dislike each other because they're in prison. I've never been to prison, but I've seen a lot of prison movies, and it seems that there's always bullies in prison against other people, and especially with new people, they tend to try to get to them quickly. That's the tropes that I see in prison movies.
One of the things I think they stick to pretty good here is, yeah, these prison gangs are all racially segregated. That is a big thing in prison. That's just, like, you don't have to be white power, but you're joining the Nazis if you're white, because that is the gang for your race. And so, like, yeah, to me, Anderson's saying, like, he wanted, a prison movie and wanted that realism. And so, yeah, the fact that this Nazi's picking on him because he's not affiliated with it, it works on that level too. I don't expect him to give me, like, a real gritty prison drama, but that's why I'm not having problems with the length of till we get to that first race.
I wanted to know the names of at least 5 drivers before we get the engines going. I think that's fair. And I could only tell you Pachinko and
14K.
There's Pachinko, Machine Gun Joe, 14K, Grim Reaper, and Travis Colt. They named them all before day one.
I do not track Travis Colt.
Me too.
He's the NASCAR guy.
I thought he was Pachinko. For a second, I was like, did Pachinko just die?
I agreed. It was really hard to tell.
Yeah, I feel they have not done due diligence in setting up the colorfulness of each participant. And I get that maybe you can't work in all 9. Yes, there are a central 5, but even them are interchangeable.
Yeah, I do feel like you got to be more of a car person to enjoy these cars. Like, I always loved that Porsche 911 that I would see all the time in the 80s. Like, some of these cars I know, I recognize, but, like, they really, like, were selective. Like, we got to pick this kind of car and that kind of car. So if you're a car person, which I am not, even though I've done all those Fast and Furious films and all these driving movies, there is stuff to appreciate here if that's your thing.
Yeah, and I think the cars are more helpful for me than the actual drivers, although they're not going to be as helpful as it was in the original movie with only 5 cars, and each one is like a cartoon. So this is like a little more gritty. It's challenging. One thing also that we should mention as we're starting this race before we get to the end of day 1 is that the women who are in the driver's seats, they don't really explain that at all. They're sitting there already, and it's kind of a shorthand. Yes, they want some TNA with this television, and he is paired with Case, who was Frankenstein's former navigator. She ejected out of the car like James Bond so she wouldn't get hurt. She saved her life. So she, I think, is already on to Jason Statham from the get.
But here's the weird thing I don't track about this story. We really need a Frankenstein, but she's also supposed to be killing him because he can't win. Like, then why do we need Frankenstein back? It makes no sense to me, but okay.
Well, it's because he turns rebellion. I think that's a fail-safe when he starts acting up that, we'll just kill him. We'll replace him.
They were never going to let him be free.
No.
And the idea is to trap this character forever. Sure, they can bring one guy back to do it one more time, but if he wins, then yay. But you'll have to kill him. And that's what Case is there to do. And ultimately, they'll plant a bomb on the car. But I just feel like, again, the celebrity around Frankenstein is nonsensical to me. I can't understand it.
I'm willing to go along with all of this baloney, but the one thing I had a problem with, Stuart just touched on, is that the warden got what she wanted. She had Case set up the car to kill Frankenstein, and yet we're not really certain on why she wants to bring him back besides ratings. Maybe there was a write-in campaign or something. I don't know what it is.
We don't have fans. We don't have people wearing F shirts and saying that they love him.
We just don't know why she would want to bring someone back she successfully killed to run one more race and then try to kill him as well. Doesn't make much sense. That's the only issue I have with her motivations in this movie.
To me, it's an impairment to connecting with Frankenstein or her. But let's get started. I hear you guys anxious to talk about what's good about this movie, and so let's talk about the race.
I've been talking about it. I haven't had the problems you've had, Stuart. I want to make that clear.
You thought the first 40 minutes were well done.
I'm into the film still. It hasn't lost me. I've been entertained.
I'm looking forward to the racing starting, and I think I'm ready to go.
I am desperate.
Look, I understand that this is different than that other death race. This is about setting it up, and so I'll give it an extra 10 or 20 minutes to do that.
I love a good long setup. Aliens, where it takes so long to get to the alien, do it. Take the time, but don't waste the time. I feel like the time has been wasted setting up all of this. I started the start line barely knowing who's in what car and why they're doing it. But all right, 40 minutes, away we go, pay my $99, and I'm going to watch day one. And yeah, what do you love about day one?
Well, I do like they explained to us, I mentioned earlier, like the Mario Kart, they have these manhole covers. After the first lap of the race, you can drive over the manhole covers. One of them is shields, which protective, defensive things like oil slicks and smoke.
Napalm?
How is napalm a shield? That was weird to me.
I think because you release it out of the back. If it comes out of the back of your car, it's a shield.
That's what I think so too, yeah. But some cars have offense as a sword, and that's where the machine guns come in. One of the cars has a turret gun at the top. She pops out and she swivels it. I think it goes 360 degrees, right? That swivel gun. So that offensive car has a leg up on people. And the other one is called a death head, which is a spiky thing that comes out of the ground that you'll crash into. If you want a visual, you know how when you go off an exit on the highway, they have those yellow buckets full of sand or water. It's like crashing into one of those things and missing, kind of like in Patriot Games. If you remember that movie, Jack Ryan's wife and daughter crash into that. It's kind of like you're not getting through that. It's going to stop you dead in your tracks no matter how fast you're going. And so those are the three in the first day. They're the first hazards or power-ups you can get in addition to just some badass driving and people crashing into each other and trying to make people fly off the road.
Yeah, and they're going to do some stunts where Case has to climb out. Not really Case, it's their stunt double, but climbs out on the car while it's driving to... I just hit the ammo until it locks into that gun and he can start firing.
Which is kind of a callback to the Corman one. I remember there was a scene where she was made to get out. It was really kind of punishment. You felt like it was Frankenstein making her to do something dangerous because he didn't like her or didn't trust her.
Yeah, talking about punishment, we find out with all these navigators, they're all from the female prison, except Machine Gun Joe. He only gets male ones. We get a lot of weird homophobic jokes from Gunner earlier about his sexuality, but they say they give him male navigators because he goes through so many, like the audience felt like it would be cruel for them to be female. And what they do to his male navigators, I feel like that's a real note they got from test screenings. Like, no, you got to make these men, you cannot keep just killing women like this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't think we do see too many women die. I don't have an image of a violent, gory female death in this.
No, they focus on the men dying.
Right.
Yeah. So I think there's some truth to what their target audience, as much as they might want TNA, they do not want to see women riddled with bullets and cut in half and what have you.
Well, the women here are literally along for the rides, right? They're not the ones driving.
They're navigators, yeah.
But they'd still die if the car blew up,
There is one cool thing in this first race, this first day, is that Jason Statham runs over a shield and it doesn't work because the warden herself disabled it so he could not get the defensive stuff. And then there's a moment where Ian McShane, as coach, holds over his mic and says, "Again?" So they'll certainly tell us no longer than 5 minutes later. But what he said that, and the way he said it, to me was like, that's interesting. I wonder what he means by that. It was a really good delivery about the frustration and this is the same old crap, different day. And I kind of like that they added a little bit of nuance to what we're watching.
But this isn't just a faulty racetrack. This is a rigged game where some people are allowed to have guns and other people are not.
Correct.
Again, what it would be setting up is that Frankenstein is going to die a horrible death here. You would think that Joan Allen is rigging it so that he won't get past day one, which makes you wonder why she went to such trouble to get a guy to come back to play the part.
Well, he would have done it if he did not see the guy do the gun move at the end of the round, and that distracted him and made him come in 6th place instead of 1st. And that is what we call good screenwriting.
No, we don't call that good screenwriting.
I'm being facetious. The way they brought it up, Stuart, the way they showed us who it was at this moment in the movie.
Yeah, Chekhov's gun. Chekhov's finger guns, actually.
But at this point at the movie, right, I think that is the right move to make at the right time to make for the movie we are watching. That is the right, appropriate thing to do.
Sure. Yeah, I have no problem with him finding out after day one. He's both a loser and a winner. He loses the day, last place, and he now knows exactly who screwed him, and he's taken out somebody. It should be said, most of the time I feel like he's not aggressive. There are people that go for the swords, and he's always, he's got this... They call it the tombstone behind him. He's always trying to get ahead. He wants to be the fast one and be shot at. He doesn't want to be the killer. But he does have this moment where he's trying to release napalm as a defense strategy. And when it doesn't work, he, knows about the ejector seat and has the whole canister go back and blow up the NASCAR driver. So he is, after day one, a killer.
Self-defense, but yeah, I guess a killer.
Self-defense? Really?
It's kill or be killed. Like, I don't understand are you saying he's an irredeemable murderer?
I just said nothing of the kind. I want him to kill people because it's Death Race.
Okay.
And that's the kind of movie we should be getting. I am literally just saying, I'm acknowledging the fact that this character, while mostly is playing the game defensively, makes a big point of killing somebody on his tail.
Yeah, I don't think he has a problem killing the other drivers as it comes to that. They don't do the pedestrians for points, but we get one scene in this first day where someone's machine guns hits one of the pit crews and they all get shot. And that was kind of a laugh for me. That felt like a nod to going after civilians. I don't think Jason Statham's Frankenstein would do that, but he's definitely, willing to kill others. But your complaint is he didn't kill enough.
I didn't say, you're assuming everything I'm saying is a complaint. It's important to acknowledge he's playing the game. He killed somebody. He didn't have to, I don't believe. He chose to, I'm going to get this guy, and I think we're supposed to enjoy the mechanics by which he goes through to get him.
Yeah, he releases the tombstone and then has to launch that napalm. Yeah, I'm enjoying those mechanics.
Yeah, they spend maybe it's just unrated cut, but they spend a moment showing Travis Colt like burning and burning. Like they want you to enjoy the carnage.
Yeah, good full body burn. That's what I want.
You do want that because
yes.
I don't feel like this movie is heavy on that. I will say this movie doesn't give Statham a lot of scenes to murder people, which is surprising for Death Race.
I'm saying I'm good with any of the carnage, regardless of who's doing it. I don't need Statham killing every single person. I need carnage in this Death Race. Yeah, this feels like watching a really violent version of NASCAR that I would enjoy. Yeah, there's the drama with Frankenstein, and will he win and get free, and how is he going to deal with this false imprisonment? But there's also just the enjoyment of, like, watching destruction on the track. I don't care who's doing it.
I also kind of like that they went away from killing innocent people or people who, citizens, some of them wanting to get killed. We saw those in the other two movies. But I kind of like the Death Race is the drivers are at risk of dying, not regular people. And I'm not saying I want real life prisoners fighting to the death. That's not what I'm saying. But in the conceit of this movie, I think it's better to have people who are in the cars killing each other versus people in the cars killing people on the outside.
But let me ask you, because I feel like this is really important, and I'm curious. I really want to know. Do you want Statham to be the one picking him off? Would you like to see him kill more people? Because I think it is a choice of this movie that they see him mostly as defensive and trying to get ahead of the violence. Take it, for example, Hunger Games. Katniss, she spends most of those hiding, trying not to kill people. Only when cornered does she draw blood. And I think that helps us like Katniss. Would you like Statham more or less if he went on the offense?
Unchanged for me.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to matter for me.
I would take more, but I'm fine with what he does in this.
Yeah, I'm fine. So far, I'm just doing just fine. Yeah.
You don't want him to be getting into it.
He seems to find a way to get into it plenty of times.
Yes. I want him to be able to murder Pachenko because that's who killed his wife.
Sure.
That's the one that matters. Like, if Machine Gun Joe killed Pachenko, then I would be complaining.
Yeah, I want to kill the guy that killed my wife, sure. Do you want him to be enjoying Death Race?
I think for his character, when you set him up as a family man with a child that he's trying to get back, I think, again, I'm tasteless. Like, make it as tasteless as you want. I think for theatrical audiences, though, they want to be able to cheer for this guy and, oh, he's a family man and he's only going to kill when he needs to. I think this very much plays to mainstream audiences, what they would find acceptable.
And they also have a couple of fist fights for him to throw down outside of the car. He has the scene with Joan Allen where that right after this race here, where she's holding a gun to his nuts, a battle of will for the both of them. But he certainly is standing up for himself and what he believes in and who he wants to get. There's plenty of name calling and hitting and racing. I think Jason Statham's doing enough for me in this movie, in this character. I don't need him to go on a murder spree. I don't need him to be Rambo. I just need him to do what he's doing.
And here's what I would offer. If I'm watching Death Race, I want to see a lot more auto carnage than I'm going to get. I just feel like this movie, like it's just literally Days of Thunder. We're just trying to get to the finish line and maybe some people are ramming into each other, but it doesn't have bloodthirstiness in its heart, which makes it, I don't know, less engaging for me.
Okay, I felt like everyone wanted to kill everyone on the track. Now, maybe there's not enough people on the track. Maybe that's the problem, but maybe I felt they were all bloodthirsty enough.
Okay.
Yeah, and they do make each round of the race different for us. But if you remember, Stuart, I gave the first movie in this series barely a recommend, and I gave the second one, I didn't recommend it because, it just didn't do enough for me. I didn't hate the other movies. I thought they were a lot of fun to be had, but I'm enjoying the different kind of death race that this movie is providing. I don't need it to be loyal to the original movie, of which I barely gave a recommend to. I don't have the closeness to the conceit. I think they're taking Death Race, changing the meaning of it, but it is very much in the same idea.
And what does it mean to you? What does it mean to you now?
In this situation, it is a race to the death, kind of like Mad Max in Thunderdome. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves, right? So you have a bunch of people who all of them know, I'm racing, and this could be the last day I race ever. Now, maybe NASCAR drivers think the same thing, but I don't know.
So it's the tension of, will Statham live?
We know he's going to live. It's not about Jason Statham living.
Then what is the appeal to watch this version?
To watch the cars race and smash into each other and stuff blow up. Like, it's an action film. Like, that is the appeal. Death Race, you tell me Death Race, yes, there's the naughty humor, but it's mostly about, like, just killing people and smashing things and the cars.
But it really isn't. Again, that's what I'd argue. It's really not about smashing and killing. It is mostly about trying to cross the finish line. It feels like a race more than a death race. I'm not getting the death in it, I guess is my point.
I mean, the first 2 days are to kill as many of the other racers as possible, so that last day's easy.
Exactly right. That was the strategy, and so I'm thinking, let's watch it happen, and I feel like there's a bunch of nameless people killing other nameless people. One dude that does die is Grimm, right? Grimm gets it.
Yeah, Grimm dies. You think he's going to live, but he gets out of that car, and that's his downfall.
But can you even tell me who killed him?
Machine Gun Joe.
You know that. You remember how that happened?
Yeah, let me look at my notes. I didn't look at my notes to say that.
No, I think you're right, but my point is, it's not a moment we even savor or remember.
No, 14K does kill him. It was not Machine Gun Joe. I was wrong.
Isn't he the guy who gets out of his car and gets, like, hit into the spikes?
Yes. Yeah.
He goes screaming at the camera, and you can kill me, you can kill me. I think Machine Gun Joe is the one to follow up afterwards and kill him. But maybe 14K is the one that wrecked his car.
Yeah, no, 14K did blow him up, and then... And you know what? I didn't write down who decapitated him.
I'm pretty sure you're right, that it was Joe.
But I believe it was Joe, yeah. That's my memory.
But it is my point that I feel like a moment like that, we should know the score. We should see who's getting the wins, because otherwise it's just a race, and that is less engaging.
Yeah, to me, it's about watching heads get knocked off while cars smash and blow things up, and you give me the blood and you give me some cool car action, and I don't have a whole lot of complaints with what Death Race is.
Rock, is it that for you? Is that what you want?
I'm enjoying the race. I want a race. I'm getting the race. People are dying. I'm okay with how the movie is set up. Again, to me, playing so much Mario Kart in my life and seeing how it's similar.
You would be fine with just a race. They don't have to be killing each other. They could just be...
You've never played Mario Kart, Stuart.
You never played Mario Kart, man. You don't know what I'm talking about.
I have not played Mario Kart, yes.
You kill each other in that. You're throwing turtle shells.
Banana peel, the whole thing. So everything, it's just it's just weapons. Literal weapons, not, cute little banana peels and blue shells.
Yeah, I feel like there's a difference to that aesthetic.
Yeah, but my point is, it's very much like that.
Well, it's Mario. You can't be decapitated.
Stuart, I'm enjoying the kind of race, the kinds of deaths. I'm enjoying that the obstacles are there. I'm enjoying when we get to the next race, it's going to be a little bit different. And I enjoy the third race. That's going to be different. It's the same track, but different circumstances, different things, like a boss battle. It's kind of a lot of what I'm looking for. They set this thing up. I understand what they set up, and they're delivering enough for me to have an enjoyable time so far.
I'll say maybe my biggest complaint is, and I understand why they make it day 2, because day 3 is going to be about the escape, but the Dreadnought. We got to talk about the Dreadnought, because I mentioned it in that first death race. Like, Mad Max was inspired by that, and Corman said they'd bounce off each other, and this is definitely a throwback. Anderson calls it out that this is the oil tanker from Road Warrior.
Mm-hmm. This is my favorite part of the movie.
Yes.
By the way.
Yeah.
Because it's reminding me of the kind of movie I want, which is Mad Max. Yes. And that by having this moment, it actually puts in stark relief, like what the rest of the race is and why it's not as exciting. But yes, I will say day 2 is the best day because we kill Pachinko and we have the Dreadnought.
Yeah, and the way they fight against this Dreadnought and how it overpowers everybody, and the warden just seems to be okay with no one living for day 3. I loved how they pop out of the side of it with the guns. I mean, what a great name for it too, the Dreadnought. Like, it's perfect. And then how they defeat it, working together, is a really cool way to defeat that. So I really enjoyed it.
I gotta say, 2008 was a big year for semis flipping over in cinema. We had The Dark Knight as well.
They sure was. That's right. And how can you not think that, right? Because we've all seen The Dark Knight many times.
And both practical shots here. Real semis.
Yeah, so Stuart, I'm glad you brought that up, Jacob, because one thing I did not mention when you were asking me what I'm enjoying here is, I don't know how much was actually racing in the cars or on a green screen. Some of the editing is really bothering me. However, I don't doubt that people are in cars at some point and someone's racing around a track.
There is real racing going on. Of course, there's stuff when they're talking in those cockpits, they can't be moving, and that's them in a little rig with a green screen. There is that stuff, but there's a lot of actual racing here.
And the times that it's not, they're convincing me it is. And the explosions don't look fake. You guys said this movie didn't have a huge budget, but what they did with their budgets with explosions and practical effects, I'm liking.
No, you brought up Michael Bay, and I'm like, I like these explosions way more. I think that they're caught way better.
Yes, much better. Much, much better than Michael Bay. But Michael Bay is definitely an influence here. Yeah, I mean, it's just really hard not to see it if you've seen enough Michael Bay movies, especially with this editing. And even with the fist fights, sometimes I had trouble figuring out who got hit by whom.
Do you feel this editing is un-Bay-like?
No, I feel it's very Bay-like.
It's very Bay-like, yes. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Right. I guess why am I hearing compliments? I feel irritated that I can't really enjoy the visuals because it is cut so choppy.
I feel like there are choppy cuts, but there's plenty of long visuals that I could take in and enjoy.
Agreed. There are moments where it's bothersome.
Okay. Am I asking too much? I feel like I'm being told,
yes, you are.
Why are you asking for all of this? But I'm like, I just want a good movie. Like, to me, good editing and like being able to enjoy a practical tanker colliding kind of thing is the difference between an enjoyable trash or just trash.
I mean, don't watch action films then. I don't know what to tell you. I've always said this, that action films are graded on a curve. It's about the action. The stories are usually pretty stupid. Like,
yes,
go back to Commando. That is a dumb story.
I'm talking about the action. I'm talking about can't really see what's going on because it's cut like Michael Bay.
Now, go watch the Michael Bay movies. This is much more watchable than Michael Bay.
I just asked you if you thought it was like Michael Bay, and you said it was.
That doesn't mean it's exactly the same.
You could certainly see the influence.
Yes, which is something I don't want to see, and something that makes it hard to see.
I mean, go watch Ambulance and tell me if you understand the action in that compared to this one.
Very good. That's a very good example of very frustrating Michael Bay.
But that's a poor defense for this movie to say they've made worse movies. Sure, I have no doubt.
No, you're just saying that, yes, this is Michael Bay-esque, but there are different levels, and this is a more digestible version of Michael Bay.
Yeah, there's moments where it's really hard. Like, for example, we talked about this when we talked about Quantum of Solace. There's that one scene that's really really, really poorly edited, and the rest of the action is better. So there are moments when it's bad, and there are moments when it's not. But when I'm pointing out that Michael Bay was an influence during those choppy scenes, not everything is choppy. It's not all or none. It's a movie about people in prison racing to the death. It's not, anything else but that. And it's what it's promising at the beginning of the movie and what they're setting up is working. It's delivering. Is it anything more than what we're calling a B picture? Absolutely not. But they're not shooting for an A picture. They're shooting for a B one.
I want to really stress, I'm asking for a Mad Max movie, and it's not as good as that.
I would say this is a pretty good Mad Max ripoff, which I'm never going to expect to be as good as the original thing, but it's a good ripoff.
How can you? Yeah, how can you possibly think this is going to be as good as The Road Warrior? It's impossible.
Because it's possible, because other people have made good car movies.
But no one's made better Mad Max than Mad Max.
To be debated another time. What I'm hearing is that you guys are accepting this movie for what it's offering, and I feel like you're setting a very low bar. You're being agreeable to not challenge this movie too much. You want to take the ride.
After last week's movie, I'm surprised that you are not right here with us, because last week's movie threw away and just squandered the premises and the comedy and just did not convince us they were actually racing. This is a whole different level.
No. It did not squander the comedy. It was a sarcastic movie, and that's why I was able to enjoy it. I recommend that movie because it more or less kept that anarchist spirit of the original. Whereas here, they're going for something different, which means you have to be really good at the technical. You really have to deliver nail-biting action that has me going, wow. It happens the most here, and it's okay.
Okay.
Because the editing is poor, I don't love it.
I'm saying if someone likes Death Race, they like action films, they like Jason Statham, they sit down, they're going to like this. This is going to check off all the boxes that they want.
Thank you. That's a great way to say it. They're doing what they're setting out to do, and it's working in that confines. The sandbox that they set up, it's working for what they're doing. That's all.
I feel like I'm offering technical problems with this movie that you're like, yeah, but it's an action movie. You're giving it this huge give me of we accept that because we're getting the action oomph. But it does have problems, right?
By the editing being poor, does that make this, to you, maybe this makes it unwatchable. To me, this is not a Michael Bay film, thank God. So the editing, while bad, maybe give it a Razzie. Don't give it any Oscars, but it's not damning the film. Like, there's nothing so bad that it damns the film for me.
Yeah. What I'm looking for, to be clear, is the action is okay-ish, maybe even acceptable, but I'm not invested in what's happening. I don't care who wins or and sometimes I can't even tell what's going on. And now that he's killed the guy that killed his wife, what is there even to do unless Joan Allen is going to get into the dreadnought and fight him at the end? Like, I feel like you have to up the stakes now that we've had day 2. You have to go crazier.
And that's what I'm saying. My biggest complaint is Dreadnought or something even bigger should have been day 3, but we're going to take a left-hand turn, I think literally, and try to do an escape movie now.
They're doing the Shawshank Redemption again.
I mean, literally, Coach is red. He has like this speech about institutionalization. That's the bad stuff. And like, I don't know, you can get angry at that or you can just laugh because it's so stupid.
Yes, it's so derivative of the Shawshank Redemption. We called it out earlier with Joan Allen and Jason Clarke. They are trying to be the warden and Clancy Brown. And from that movie, the escape here is just like that, in a car movie version. It seems to me that it turns into the prison movie instead of a race movie in the third race and trying to give us a quote-unquote happy ending, tie a bow around the whole thing, and finish it up. And it's the weakest round for sure. The ending is very, very pat. And the fact that these two arch enemies, quote unquote, are becoming friends at the end is,
Yeah, why does that happen? And am I wrong to ask for an explanation? I mean,
it's off screen. They have a conversation. It's literally off screen.
Literally, yeah. Let's go talk off screen.
Yeah, he recognizes his voice. It should be said, day 2 ends, the way they're able to defeat Dreadnought is that you have to have 4 wheels when you hit a marker. And rather than have one of them drive over the thing, they have 2 wheels from Joe and 2 wheels from Frankenstein. And so they're already friends because, again, I didn't even understand why they were not friends.
Well, it's the beginning of, okay, we did that together. Now here's my plan. And then next day.
But this was someone that was willing, like, had such a grudge and wanted him dead, and was, rather than focusing on even winning the race, he was focusing on killing Frankenstein. And all of a sudden, without really a lot of explanation, they're teaming up to defeat Dreadnought.
Here's what it is. Machine Gun Joe wants to be free too. That's why he doesn't like Frankenstein, because that's the one always beating him. He's taking the records. He's always coming back from the dead. I get it. That's the grudge. And now he's like, hey, you want to go free? Because that's what you want. And so they're going to make that deal off screen, like we said.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm seeing too, is I have a plan for both of us to win here. What we both really want is getting out of here. And it plays out okay. I didn't expect it, to be honest with you. I didn't see that coming. I mean, of all the things I saw coming, and I saw everything coming a mile away in this movie.
How can you not?
I did not realize that they're going to use the missile to blow the wall off to escape. I said to myself, how did I not see that coming? It's not because I was so into the movie. I just didn't think that was going to happen. I just figured they're going to be, Tyrese is going to die, and somehow Jason Statham gets out of the prison. Didn't even occur to me they're going to do it together with the weapons they were given.
And Tyrese, it should also be said, is in the Fast and franchise.
He was too fast and too furious.
Yes, so he is actually established with that franchise. They're bringing him in for that reason. He doesn't have the same repartee that he does. And again, it's kind of like the Statham thing where, like, he's dialing it in so much. He's so angry, there's no room for bromance.
Well, you guys pointed out to me that this is the time of Tokyo Drift before Fast 4 rebooted pretty much the franchise. That franchise was not the Fast and the Furious franchise, as you pointed out to me, until later.
Yeah, but my point is that they were hoping, since Fast and the Furious is dead, we can take some of the goodwill by bringing one of the players from that. Tyrese is willing to do this. But do you feel he is likable here?
I mean, most of this film, he's not supposed to be likable, but I like this performance a whole lot. Go back to Too Fast and Too Furious. Hated his performance, hated all his bad jokes. It wasn't until like part 6 or 7 that I finally came around on Tyrese's character in that franchise. So look, this is your very typical prison gangster acting here, and it's fine. He's coming off as a threatening prisoner. That's all he has to do.
Yeah, I mean, we know who he is because he's been in other movies. It could have been played by anybody.
Yeah. What you're saying is damnation. If I said this could be played by anyone, that's really saying this movie is failing.
Any role, like, there's very few roles where there's one divine actor that should play it. Like, yeah, could 10 or 15 people have played this role good? Sure. Does Tyrese play it good? Yes. This could have been filled by someone else. The casting director could have made that choice. Tyrese is doing what he needs to do for the role.
Right, and so is Joan Allen. So let's be very clear here. Joan Allen, who I think is a better actor than the material she is given here, and she's doing what she can with what she has very well. Could someone else play that role? Absolutely. But they have her here, and she's doing what she can. Do I think someone else could have played Jason Clarke's? Absolutely. Do I think someone could play Jason Statham's role? Probably. It's not that movie, man. It's not that kind of movie. That's all.
Do you think that there's an actor that could have better chemistry with Statham so that we'd like to see them run off into the sunset at the end of the movie?
Yeah, they're not Red and Andy. Let's be very clear. They certainly are not. There's no way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is I feel like they have not established that we would even want them to get away together.
And that's probably why I didn't see the ending coming, right? Because you didn't really see their relationship at all blooming. And yes, Jacob and I think we agree the third lap is pretty much our least favorite of all 3 days of racing, right? The way they end this movie in a bow is one of the least likable things about it. But how else would you end this movie? Just kill everybody? I guess so.
Well, this was not the original ending. That they escape is, but I think the bow that they tie where everyone reunites, this movie originally ended with Coach blowing up the satellite dish, and then it just cut to credits, and they said based on test screenings, people wanted a resolution. They wanted to be told what happened with all these characters.
So they wanted the warden dead, is what you're saying?
Yeah, it was just going to end right when he does that explosion.
So the warden could have lived for the sequel?
Maybe, yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you're just talking about the elimination of the very last scene.
Yeah, but I think that really changes your focus on Joe's and Frankenstein's relationship. Like, now they're buddy-buddy. They are Shawshank Redemption, working together at the end.
They're family. I mean, It's Fast and the Furious. We're going to raise a baby. While we're in a junkyard fixing up cars, we're also going to change diapers.
It's literally the Fast and the Furious, because apparently the car Case drives up in, Vin Diesel would be driving that in the next Fast and Furious 4 film.
Oh, that's funny. I forgot that. That's funny. I didn't like the bomb with the warden and Ulrich. I didn't really care for that. I think it'd be better if she died, like, on the track, say.
Yeah, she had to race. I'm sorry, she had to do it.
Well, maybe not race, but maybe come out with the flag or something to, like, finish the race off, and then she gets run over or something like that.
Yeah.
The biggest confusion for me is Case, because we'll see she'll put on the Frankenstein outfit. She's like, I already have my signed papers. I don't know why you'd give someone their signed papers before they did the deal that you made with them. She's like, I got my signed papers. They can't do anything to me. I'm like, you're aiding and abetting. You're breaking new laws they could try you for now. But apparently somehow, like, she's arrested at the end. She's standing there with that huge explosion with the car and driving up with the baby. Like, I don't know how that happened.
Yeah. And not to mention, if you've blown up the warden and their henchmen, isn't everyone going to flee the prison at this point? Isn't it a massive everyone escapes? Like, I don't know.
Maybe there will be no one in the prison in the next film. Thought to fill it up again.
Yeah. You're right. There's plenty of movies to tell us what happens.
We got 3 more of these, Stuart.
Yeah. Okay. Can't wait.
And I'm curious to see in the future if they go back to the cross country or they stay with this new conceit of racing around a prison. We'll find that out as we go along. So Jacob, Stuart, I think I know how this is going to go down, but let's hear it. Do you recommend Death Race? Jacob.
Now it feels like I'm just trying to troll Stuart, which I promise I'm not. These are thoughts that I had written down before this conversation. I didn't know it was going to go this way. But when I went and looked at all Paul W.S. Anderson's films, which, look, like half of those Resident Evils I haven't seen because they don't have numbers, so I don't know which ones I have seen and haven't seen. He's got a lot of garbage. I think the only real big film of his, though, that I haven't seen yet is Event Horizon, but I was willing to say that I think this is probably Paul W.S. Anderson's best film. Like, I really enjoyed this one. Like, look, that is not a high bar for Anderson to hit his best film. Like, that is not a filmography. Well, I take that filmography, but not if you want to be a prestige director. Like, a lot of trash on there. And yeah, this is trash. This is Death Race. And like I said, this is the first one that I saw before that original Corman one. And I enjoyed this one a lot. And coming back to it, yeah, when that dreadnought pops out, that's great. All the car stuff, like, that's what I'm here for. Jason Statham doing tough guy stuff, throwing some fights, throwing a lot of grimaces. I think you're going to come and have a good time. Like, if you want just a fun, light action film that, yeah, don't think about it because there's nothing to think about. That's not why we're watching this. You're going to have a fun time. Like I said, the best Paul W.S. Anderson film. And I hate to say this for Jason Statham, but like one of his better films too. Like when I looked at all the ones I watched of his, like his starring ones, especially. Like I've seen Romeo and Juliet, but that is not a Jason Statham vehicle.
Yeah, right. Doesn't count. None of that. Yeah.
Have you seen Spy? Because he was in Spy too. Yeah.
He's in Collateral. That doesn't count. Yeah.
Yes.
No, those aren't Jason Statham films.
Yeah, I guess I'm counting like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch, even though those are ensembles, but that introduced him. But like besides those and Crank, like, yeah, like the stuff that I get excited about, this is one of those. So Death Race, when I went to rate this, I gave it the same rating as the original Death Race 2000. Now they work on different levels for me. Like this is a cover song. And it's different. It's probably technically better people behind the camera, even though you don't like the editing. But I always like that rawness, Stuart. You know me, I'm always going to go for the raw punk thing than the polished one. But this one's a little bit more polished. Still a lot of fun. Yeah, recommend. Have a beer and a smile on your face and enjoy this film.
Stuart.
And I want to stress, I was eager for someone to bring a new energy. I did not want another jokey Corman movie. I think the concept of a lethal demolition derby had already been done in that way. We needed a new direction, and I'm fine that Paul W.S. Anderson is the guy. Yes, I think he's a hack, but I gave recommends to some of his Resident Evils. I think he doesn't have to reinvent the wheel. It doesn't have to be anything more than adrenalizing and in your face. That's all that I wanted Death Race 2008 to be. And it is not that movie for me. It is thoroughly unappealing and all like ugly monochrome cinematography, a racetrack you can't see, and worst of all, a complete lack of dramatic stakes. That you have a pretty good solid cast And everyone seems to be, the race they're in is to give the most constipated, ill-humored performance. That Joan Allen at one point says, everyone wants to see the mask. And I'm like, yeah, because the mask has more emotion than anybody here. They should all be wearing masks. And key to it, this is how diametrically opposed, Jacob, we are on this. Key to the failure to me is Statham. He's a B-picture hero that you guys like a whole lot more than I do. But I can root for him when he is a more playful anti-hero. And I know his scowl is trademarked. I know that this is his image, but you want to play with that image. And you don't give him a script where, okay, we're going to victimize you and kill your wife and take away your kid, and all you're ever going to be throughout this movie is angry, because that's really boring to watch, right? You've got to have him have chemistry with the other drivers, with his pit crew. He's got to want to be there on some level. He's our way into buying into this race. And if he's not enjoying killing people, okay, but then he's got to want to survive. I got to see fear, something. And he has nothing with Tyrese. He has nothing with Joan Allen. I am a sucker for this concept. I want to just end by saying I recommended most Hunger Games, Battle Royale, Running Man, all the Mad Max, Ready Player One. I probably would recommend Immortal Engines. I go for this kind of movie. And I think this movie completely spins its wheels. It goes nowhere. It does nothing right. It is a not recommend.
I had a better time with it than you did.
You found one thing it did right?
Well, yeah, I'll tell you exactly what that was. Thank you, Jacob. That's a good way to start this, is that I did not want the last movie again. I did not want that at all. What they did here was they changed Death Race's structure, but still kept Death Race. They quote-unquote modernized it. They threw away some of the good stuff, unfortunately, that we've all enjoyed about the original Death Race, with commentary and pithy humor. There is very little humor to be had here. What we got is a straight-up action movie. And if you enjoy Jason Statham action movies, like I do, this one fits right into there. I'm remembering, Stuart, we saw this director do Alien vs. Predator.
Ooh.
And I think I was the only one to recommend that movie.
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, you guys don't like it because it's not what an Alien movie is supposed to be. It's just, it's a pathetic, shell of an Alien and Predator movie. Mashing them together didn't work. I don't remember exactly what we all talked about, but I remember saying something along the lines, because I did not listen to the podcast, something about, what I got when I came in was I wanted to see Alien versus Predator, and everything else doesn't matter. And they delivered enough for me to have a good enough time watching Alien fight Predator, and I liked it enough. This one I liked more than that, for sure. There's more here for me, being a Jason Statham action fan. I wish Joan Allen the best, and I wish her better than this. And I don't have any strong tie to Tyrese. I really only know him from the Fast and Furious franchise, where, he comes in, says his couple of lines with Ludacris, then goes away because he's not really the focus. And that's fine, I'm not here for the cast. I'm not here for, a mind-blowing Die Hard type experience. What I'm here for is a Jason Statham B-picture action flick. And while the ending is not my favorite and they pull out so many tropes, it's a Jason Statham movie, guys. And so in the scheme of that and what I'm watching, plus how they improved on the last one, I gotta tell you, I had a pretty good time watching this movie. I could see myself turning this on one day and watching it again. Even though I enjoyed enough of that first Death Race movie, I don't see myself ever watching that one again. This one I can see if I'm homesick, throw this baby on for 90 minutes and just sit back and let it hit me. So yeah, I'm recommending this one. This one's certainly better than the last one. And I think I enjoyed it, enough more than the first one. I think so far, this is my favorite one we've seen so far.
Interesting, because what I hear being said is it's a good Jason Statham movie. Mm-hmm. What does it mean that we're going to not get him again?
Now I'm worried.
We got 3 more films, guys, and no Jason Statham.
From the director of Inhumans, I'm worried.
We got Sean Bean. Danny Trejo, I think, is popping up.
Ving Rhames.
Yeah. Some friends of Arnie's are here,
Yeah, Danny Trejo is a warning to me. Like, if he shows up in something now, it's not going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hear you, but he's comforting. Me and Arnie are same on this. He's comforting. We see Danny Trejo, he's just one of those, oh, good, Danny's here. I don't want him to have, the lead, right? Machete is not my favorite movie, but I certainly do enjoy me a little Danny Trejo.
So you're optimistic.
I mean, Danny Trejo's going to give me something that's likable. I don't know if the rest of the movie's going to, but I know he's going to come in, say his lines in the way he does, and have his swagger and have his presence, and that's going to be a positive no matter what the movie's going to be. We'll see.
Yeah. It will be really interesting to see what the experience is on a different budget and, yeah, without the star and without the director, too. So some of the things that I'm citing as problems are not going to be there next week. Will that make it better or worse? We will see. In the meantime, a buddy pair up that I actually am much more excited about. Val Kilmer and Robert Downey Jr. made this little film in 2006 that I quite loved. Kiss, Kiss, Bang, Bang. And we're covering it this Friday as part of the Shane Black Foursome Buddy Pictures.
It's a really great movie. I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys think about it. It's one of those movies that is, you always want to rewatch it again, but you just, oh yeah, I got to watch that one. And it's certainly, if you haven't seen it before, guys, it's a treat. Check it out and listen to the show. You're going to enjoy yourselves. So we will pull up to the starting line for Death Race 2 in our next podcast. And damn, I love this game.
Well, America, there you have it.
Thank you for listening to this Now Playing Podcast movie review.
My pleasure.
Support from listeners like you keeps Now Playing Podcast on the air.
What'd you expect? Another pretty face?
You can donate directly by tapping the support button at nowplayingpodcast.com.
It's time for action.
You can also compare notes with us on Letterboxd. Go to letterboxd.com/nowplaying to see what our hosts are watching when we're not recording podcasts. And follow Now Playing on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our YouTube channel.
Why can't they see me as I see myself? A kind, gentle soul imprisoned by abs of steel.
Now Playing Podcast is produced by Arnie Carvalho.
He moves them, inspires them.
Associate produced by Jason Latham.
You're very good at what you do, and I'm very good at what I do.
Now Playing is edited by Heath, Santiago, and Arnie.
Took the best, made it better.
Now Playing credits read by Brock.
I swear by St. Dwayne the Rock Johnson, I will slap that sinful tramp!
The opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual hosts and may not reflect the views of Venganza Media Incorporated.
If you want to drive again next year, Mr. Viterbo, you'll keep those opinions to yourself.
Venganza Media Incorporated is not affiliated with, and this podcast has not been prepared, approved, or licensed by any entity that created the film analyzed herein.
Don't talk to the other drivers. Frank never did. Part of the mystique. Let the mask do the work.
All movie clips and music included in this podcast are the intellectual property of their respective copyright holders. They are included here for the purpose of review, and no infringement is intended.
You got that right.
Now Playing is a Venganza Media production, copyright 2024, and no part of this show may be reproduced, repurposed, or redistributed without the written permission of Venganza Media Incorporated. All rights reserved.
Good night, Mr. Frankenstein.
I didn't know it was going to go this way, but after watching this, like, I looked at all Paul Wes Anderson, what Anderson is this, Paul?
W.S. Yes.
W.S. Anderson. Jesus. Not Thomas, not Wes. Okay.
No. Yeah.